Welcome everybody back to the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying villain in YouTube entertainment today, Mr. General Zod. And today, as always, I am always happy to have this man on my channel because we have such great talks, whether it's been about movies we like or something like Depp. I love having Stevie J on because, and we were talking about this, as a matter of fact, before we came on air. We've always been real with each other, and I think he's always known how sincere I am about these things that I talk about. And so we have the best conversations. So everybody put the hands together, you know, do the hands emoji, and let's welcome everyone's favorite Australian, Stevie J Raw. Welcome to the channel, man. Great to have you.
Great to be here, mate. Thanks for having me. And yeah, we have known each other for a fair while now. I think we're coming up on 2 years since we've known each other. And yeah, we used to talk about movies a lot. Talked about Game of Thrones and that hot mess that was happening there. And so we kind of deviated a little bit for a while. You know, you stuck with the more entertainment and movies, like in a broad sense, and I moved into covering Johnny Depp in depth. But it seems like our paths have crossed again, which is awesome. Because I always like catching up, and now we're both talking about Johnny Depp as well. So yeah, happy to be here, mate, and happy to see everybody here in the chat as well.
Oh yeah, before we get started, man, I wanted to give my normal shout outs to the chat that I like to do. Aura of Peace, good to have you. Dean Jacobs, you're scary. You're becoming scarily like one of the people in every chat. Love to have you. Missed Entropy, am I saying that right? If I say your name wrong, I apologize. I don't pronunciate very well. Spiritually empowered coaching, good to have you. And Bonnie B and Nadie 8. And I wanted to say spiritual empowering. Thank you. Stevie told me about what you said. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that, look, you guys, everything that I say and what you see on my channel, that's me. I don't try to like ham it up. I've always been brash, rude, asshole at times, but that's just who I am. And when I feel strongly about something, I have to say it plainly, because I feel that when you sugarcoat who you are, when you try to put on a show just for people, people know that it's a show. If you met me in real life, I would be the exact same way. Pop Culture PB has met me in real life, so he can attest. I'm the same way outside as I am here, only I just apparently talk to a lot more people. And, you know, I think, Stevie, that speaks to all of us here. And I get the impression you and me, we've talked off air. We're always the same way off air that we are on air, maybe turned up slightly, but it's still the same. We don't change.
No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we whatever topic we're talking about, we've always been the same, and really it just comes down to honesty. That's it. That's the best policy, and we haven't always agreed on everything either, but we're always honest about it, and it's just about having an opinion. So it's good, mate. It's good to see you, you know, getting on board with this topic as well, and getting even more into it. And as of course, I'm always happy to talk about it.
So the first thing I want to tackle, because everyone's tackled this other angle about it, and the first thing I want to talk about is the fan angle, because everyone's always starting with the case. But I want to bring up something that I feel like is just as important about this as the case itself, which I have no doubts he's going to win. But I want to talk about the fans, because for me, this is personal again, because I've followed Star Wars for years, and Pablo Hidalgo and that fucking massive troll piece of shit, and what Lucasfilm has done. And what really drew me to what was going on here in this community is that I have come across the most loyal, nicest people I have ever, I think, met YouTubing. And yet, here we
Here,
go
here.
again, Stevie.
Yeah.
I know, right? Shout out to the fans, but here we go again. I find it funny how these are people. These are people that we talk to, we engage with, we're in chats with
Yeah.
them, okay? But the media would have you think that they're bots. And this has been in the playbook for years now. When someone has a difference of opinion, when someone doesn't agree with the narrative, then you're bots, you're incels, you're trolls, you're Republicans now. I mean, there's all of these things that they call people.
Yeah.
And so I want to get to start off with the fan outcry. Why do you think there are so many people, and I've even heard people who don't particularly get on board just because, it's Johnny Depp. There are people who have legitimate, strong feelings about this topic. So you've been
Yep.
entrenched in this for a while. Why do you
Yeah.
think people recognize this is an important fight?
Well, mate, look, first of all, it's a really good question. It's a great question because there's so many layers to it. There's so many layers to it. And as I've started off covering this and gotten deeper and deeper into where I am now, and still going, by the way, still learning more and still getting into it. But as far as the fans go, I feel like that's one part of it. So Johnny Depp fans, and let's call that people who have always followed his career, always loved him, gone to his screenings and, all of that kind of stuff, really followed him, which is great. All of those people are there supporting him now. Then there's DV victims, right? There's DV victims, and you could say that, and I probably would say that that is the most critical part to all of this. So is that DV survivors themselves are the biggest, most outspoken voice against Amber Heard and for Johnny Depp. So there's that group, and then there's also a group that I put myself in, which is supporters of the truth. And I think all of those three categories are so important, but it's something we haven't seen before, at least in my opinion. So, you referenced Star Wars and stuff like that before, and with Star Wars, it was the fans were blamed for the problems with it, for hating it when it wasn't a good movie, right? So with but what we're seeing here is something really unprecedented. It's all three of those categories of people that I mentioned. So fans, supporters, and DV victims, male, female, short, tall, black, white, doesn't matter, all coming together, all united under the same banner, under the same cause, under the same pirate's flag, you might say, to support Johnny Depp and try to get truth out there and try to get justice, not just for him, but for DV victims overall, because it's so important. It's so important, his case and what he's going through and how that's going to impact the future. Because if you look at the appeal that just got put in, and they mentioned it in there really well in the appeal that just got lodged in the UK, talking about what kind of precedent it sets and what kind of paradigm it is to say, okay, objectively, all of these things can happen to somebody, yet they're going to be accused of all of these things, and it's fine. You can do that. You can just accuse everyone of that. So not only do we not believe survivors, victims, that are female or male, men aren't going to come forward anymore. Not that they're doing it now, but like if Johnny Depp is anything for men, he is a huge advocate for coming forward and being able to share what's happened with them. So, all of those things got mentioned in the UK appeal by Johnny Depp's lawyers, and I think those things all tie in really well. But I agree with you as well, mate. On a fundamental level, the supporters overall, and I put all three categories in that group, the supporters overall of Johnny Depp are just amazing, just fantastic. He's just rolled over 9 million on Instagram, and I think he's up to nearly 8 million on Facebook. And this is coming from a guy who's made 13 or 14 posts on Instagram, like nothing. He's barely done anything on there, but it just kind of shows you the amount of support. So that's how I could answer that. But I think you're right. But I think there's those three categories.
I think that's a great point because I like to think of myself as falling into the category of seeking truth in general. And the thing about this is my YouTubing and what I've done, and you guys have all been on different kinds of things that I do. It's a variety of stuff, but in general, I really dive into the injustice that's going on to everybody who is a decent actor. And believe me, there are not very many of them left these days. And it seems like this thing for Hollywood to destroy good people who bring a sort of legacy to it. And I've talked about it before with Clint Eastwood and numerous other great actors who have been constantly barraged by Hollywood. And it is for no other reason than what they believe, because they don't get on board or they don't subscribe to what Hollywood's performing. But here's the thing with Depp, though, and this is the most important, unique thing about Depp's position. Depp is important because he directly threatens this narrative that Hollywood has been pushing for how many years now, that just women are victims, that guys are selfish, evil assholes, and that you can't have males who go through the same exact terrible things. That this one-sided, almost pushing sexism in a sense, that's exactly what they're doing. And it's kind of ironic because they're trying to get rid of it. Their whole thing is to tip the pendulum extremely the other way, instead of trying to do what's right and hold that pendulum in the middle and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we got the Harvey Weinsteins and all of those guys. They exist. They're real. They're assholes. There's no defending their irreputable behavior. But you got Amber Heards. You got other females who, I mean, if you guys remember Mike Tyson, Robin Gibbons destroyed that man. And he actually didn't do anything to her. And she was caught on tape talking about how she was going to take him down and take him for everything that he has. I mean, this is not the first time that there's been cases like this, but the media has had more of an influence to sweep it under the rug. And I think now we're at a crucial point because all of these fine folks in the chat and all of the people who are following this, and you and the people you have watching you, all see through the bullshit now.
Yes. Well, mate, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was gonna add another point to what I was saying before. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I agree that, and let's remember there's a big cash cow here as well with, hashtag believe all women, hashtag time's up, which Amber Heard's original lawyer was, a counsel for on the Time's Up movement. So you got to remember there's a big cash cow there too. So these lawyers have a huge incentive. And Greg Ellis talks about that on his show on The Respondent, talking about how much how much money there is to be made in family law. So, we're talking about between men and women right now, but that flows into family law and all of these things, because, you have the false accusations, and then there's the domestic violence and all these things that flow into it. And so with a $55 billion a year industry, that part of the narrative and pushing things that way isn't going to end anytime soon, at least not from the legal sense. And then with the pushing of the narratives, right? The mainstream media. And this is, and I agree with what you said in your first point, which was that we're seeing something different and unique with Johnny Depp. And what is unique about this is that the tide of social media, the wave of social media support for Johnny Depp, and the wave of truth that's flowing and overshadowing the mainstream media right now is unheard of. It's unheard of for the last 10, 15 years, maybe even longer. And I think that's what's so unique, is that all of us together, everything we're doing, your channel, my channel, Les, Shelby, everybody who's covering this in some way, who's getting the truth out there, is adding to that wave, and it's building. And it is now, I believe now, just overtaken and started overshadowing the mainstream media. Because sure, we know, and we've been able to point out that the mainstream media is full of crap for a long time. But what hasn't changed, or what hasn't shifted until now, is this the social media and the online support and all of the actual mood of people hasn't shifted and overtaken that until now. Because before there was too many people who were undecided or indifferent, and so whatever the mainstream media said, there was all the people on one side who would just believe it all, and nobody else. Like, people were too apathetic to push back because they didn't care enough about whatever the topic was, or not enough people cared about what the topic was. But now, because so many people are invested from all of those three categories in supporting Johnny Depp, we're seeing such a huge push against mainstream media that it's being toppled, it's been overtaken, and that's something we've never seen before, which is amazing.
And I just want to say, I'm not as good as Stevie on this chat stuff. So if I miss you, I apologize. But hey, Tiffany Daniels. Hey, Kathy. I'm just going to call you K because I just love the K and the smiley face.
Well, it's K3 because it means coffee. So Kappa means coffee. So 3 times coffee.
You know what? K3 works. K3,
Yeah.
JD for life. Caroline, Bonnie B. Let me see. I'm trying to find everyone. Like, thank you,
Hey,
everybody. Dean
awesome
Jacobs, of
here.
course. Margot. Geekicidal Tendencies is here. Jen, welcome everyone. You guys, Emma P. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys stopping by as we talk about this stuff. Right now, we're just getting into the fan aspect because I want to approach this from different angles because it really fascinates me, like Stevie was just explaining, how we've seen that before. There has never been such a strong movement with the fans that could not be ignored by the media. But with this case, it's so interesting because it's like everything the media has been doing has been just putting their foot in their mouth. So let's get into the infamous THR article. And I want to point that out because I have said for years, 4 years, go through, and you know, Stevie, I have literally built a show, Late Night Talks, on calling ridiculous articles out, right? And then we mock them. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this, but it's been so beautiful to watch these guys point out how truly fucking stupid and how dead media is without us having to say it. Because that THR article was the biggest pile of garbage hit piece, uneducated and unfounded, because most of the stuff she stated was not backed up by any research or anything. You could tell.
No.
She did not source anything. She didn't do the footwork. And it's been really just wonderful. It brings some joy to my heart to see the media expose themselves, and we didn't have to do anything.
No.
So tell us a little bit about that article, and tell us, I know, we've done a stream on it, but tell us, reviewing all of these articles and how people have been mirroring it, what do you think this means? And do you think that this further points out the lack of credibility these days from any media outlet?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Absolutely. In my eyes, they have zero credibility whatsoever. The THR article was probably the most disingenuous, aggressive, disgusting piece of crap I've ever seen. And the fact that people go out, and so other news organizations or news websites will go and quote the Hollywood Reporter then, as if the Hollywood Reporter is some kind of be all and end all of news media. So they'll quote that and say, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, but the Hollywood Reporter's full of shit. So you can't trust that. And when you're talking about the media overall and the different kinds of media, I mean, let's face it, there's 4 or 5 massive media conglomerates in the world who own everything. So when you say, well, what about that one over there? They can report it accurately. Well, generally not, because they're all owned by just 4 or 5 people or 4 or 5 conglomerates. So and whatever narrative they want to push, they'll push. But in terms of the Hollywood Reporter article itself, one of the biggest issues I had with it, and one of the biggest things to me that pointed out that it was all full of crap. I mean, it's fairly obvious when you just read it, but was the part where they tried to make out, she tries to make out that Johnny Depp had assaulted somebody on a set of City of Lies. That was the one that really, really pissed me off, because it was just such a blatant lie. I mean, everything was really, but with that one, they tried to quote a court case and everything. Yet, with 2 seconds of research, you go back and find that the Hollywood Reporter themselves wrote an article about that incident in 2018 with City of Lies, and you find out, oh, actually, Johnny Depp didn't assault anybody. He was protecting a homeless lady from somebody who was being aggressive towards her. So, I mean, look no further. But the problem is that there's been so many people up until now who will just blindly believe that stuff. But what we're seeing now is, like I said before, that wave has pushed so many more people to the truth and called out the lies of the mainstream media, that there's the awareness of the lies of mainstream media is being brought to the forefront. So more people are saying, see you later, Hollywood Reporter, see you later, any of these other mainstream kind of news outlets. I'm going to go to, which is something I thought I'd never say, I'm going to go to Twitter to get the truth, or I'm going to go to someone on YouTube to get the truth, not the mainstream media. So, yeah.
Or they'll be like, I'm going to go to Stevie J Raw to go get the truth. I mean, these days, man, you've been doing some great work. And before we continue, K3 says that a General Zod wearing a new hat today. I know this is the hat from Father Zod. Yeah, it's my serious journalistic integrity hat. You can trust someone with this. Lemon Pie makes a great point. He says maybe 50 years ago, the New York Times says meant something, but not anymore. They lie constantly, and it's true. That's a great point, Lemon Pie, because the sad part is, like, even when I was a kid, you went, you got coffee, you got a bagel, and you sat down with the Times, man. The time, I mean, and this is to put into perspective that I'm not some media hater. When I grew up, and I said this over on Rob Rule's channel, I had such reverence for media because, to me, they brought truth, and some of the scandals they exposed, it felt like, for me, they brought that hard truth, right? They brought facts. They didn't care about feelings. They cared about making sure the people knew the truth. And the sad part is the media has so lost their way that they're no longer reporting facts or using logic or reasoning. They don't even do the fucking legwork anymore. They don't even research their own research. Like with that article, if this lady had put any bit of research, you and me found it in 5 seconds. You pulled that up. We found that.
Yeah, exactly.
That same thing. If she would have just Googled her own paper and put 5 seconds, she would have seen before it went into print that she was citing something wrong. And it was so horrible because it proved that integrity that they're supposed to have, that respect that they're supposed to have for us, man. That these guys are supposed to be the people who don't let emotions and bias affect what the truth is. And it's the same thing like with the court that pissed me off. And I went off on Rob Rule's channel, but it was how I felt. Justice is supposed to be blind, and it has not been in the UK. It's been brought and paid for and biased. And I don't care what anyone says, you can't convince me that trial wasn't a brought and paid for affront and a sham of justice, because everything says to the contrary that what that ruling was. And it's not how the person ruled, but how they chose to word it that was the biggest slap in the face to what the legal system is. The double talk, the double speak. So I know I'm jumping around, but let's go to that because
that's all right.
they kind of connect, right? The lies from the media, the lies from the UK. This
Yeah.
sham of a trial. I don't even know where to start with how disgusting. How
Oh, well,
fucking
mate. I mean, the thing is, right? There's so many things to unpack, right? the, let's go with the media first. So the media used to be, like you said, somewhere you could turn to. And, our parents would definitely say it used to be where you go to find out what the truth is, what's going on, what's happening in the world. But somewhere along the line, that really changed, and the focus of news and mainstream media switched from being news and being a platform to bring information to the people. It switched from that to being, let's bring a product to the people. Whatever that product is, it might be hashtag times up. It might be hashtag me too. It might be whatever it is. And I'm actually really annoyed about the hashtag me too thing, because I think that there's a lot of value in that idea, because people should be able to come forward. Absolutely 125,000% people should be able to come forward. So I like the idea, the premise of that. But what happened is, the mainstream media, the news outlets, they saw that as a product, just like the legal system saw that as a product to make money. So that's what's happened. Somewhere along the line, the mainstream media and the news outlets have started bringing products in their eyes to the people instead of actual news, instead of information, and letting people decide their own thoughts, feelings, have their own understandings of what the truth might be. It's gone from giving that information to people and letting them decide on their own, and having their own independence, to just showing one side of a story constantly, 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 as part of whatever that product is you're pushing. So in this case, look, it's Me Too, Time's Up, all those things. Okay, that is the popular narrative right now. So everybody in the news world, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to cover it. Even though there's two sides to this story, we're just going to cover the one, because that's the one that suits us. And sadly, people just believe it. They just believe the headlines. They believe what they see, believe what they read. But what's happening, and I think we are going to get to even more of a tipping point. And I think Johnny Depp's case is such a huge catalyst for this change. But when we get closer to the VA trial, and even now with the appeal that's been lodged, the more and more that we see come out about this case, the more lies and backdoor deals that we see with the judge, and just all of this injustice. It's going to only bring more people to support Johnny Depp and the truth, and to discard the mainstream media, because we are a society that generally we grab things quickly and we discard things quickly as well. So people are comfortable, or have been comfortable, just grabbing the headlines. So quickly grab that, cool, grab that. But once, and often it only takes once, when they find out there's an actual lie, there's a straight out lie, and they stop believing the mainstream media on that occasion, well, they're going to stop believing it from then on as well. So I think that's what's going to happen, because there's a whole lot more to come out, and I'm breaking down the skeleton argument of the appeal tomorrow on stream. So that'll be interesting, because that's a great document. 23 pages of awesomeness, because David Sherborne, Johnny Depp's UK lawyer, and of course I think it's with the assistance of the rest of his legal team as well, have absolutely just smashed the verdict in the UK on so many levels. And what's really great about that for all of us is that we've been saying this stuff all along. It's all of the things that we've been pointing out, all of the inconsistencies, but we're yet to see that stuff pointed out in legal documents, or at least in a kind of a one-piece document in a legal sense. So to see Johnny Depp's lawyers pointing all of those things out line by line, about all the evidence, all the mismatches, all the inconsistent witness statements, just everything all at once, is a thing of beauty in my eyes.
And Miss Entropy, bye, I guess. I've been following the chat and going, and while you've been talking, by the way, we got 41 people watching. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to do a shameless promo on my own channel. If you're new and you like the content, hit that subscribe button. I am 5 away from 500. Does not seem like a lot, but I'll tell you something. Stevie remembers when I was jazzed about 100, so I never dreamt in a million years I'd be halfway to 1,000. So
I remember, man. I was there. I was right there with you, sitting on both of us sitting on 100 or so.
Yeah, we had a back and forth, and then I always knew you'd go further than me. You're just so much more classy than I am.
I don't know about that.
I'm kind of a dick at times, so.
We all are, though, mate. We all are. We all are.
But
sure.
No, I mean, this community has been really great, and thank you everybody for that, because honestly, I've been just touched by everything that's going on. I had a personal issue. My girlfriend got corona. We kind of got kicked out of our house. It's been a rough end of 2020. And that's why I wanted to swing back to the fans and to these people. I have heard bullshit from the media about how Johnny Depp fans are crazy and all this, right? Because they got to paint them in this light. But the same people have stepped up, and people on my channel and people who've known me have stepped up and donated to GoFundMe to help me and my girlfriend out. And because of that, we were able to secure an apartment and pay the security deposit and everything with money we already had saved and what you guys donated. And if that is a crazy community full of bots, then sign me up, because these are some of the best people that I've ever talked to. And clearly, these are the most kind, caring people I've ever met. And they're the type of community that I've wanted to get the message out there, where I was like, hey, is there like-minded? Remember when we first started this? I'm like, is there like-minded people out there? We're not the only ones ranting about this.
Yeah.
100%. And here we are, man. And we get the chance to meet all of these great people. And it brings me to a point of how out of touch the media actually is. You say it all the time, and I've stole your quote a couple of times with feeling the temperature of the room. They've lost that ability, man. They've lost the ability to connect with the people. And it astonishes me that you would call these people who don't know me from Adam, who have no allegiance to me, to you, but yet they're willing to give for your charity, to help the kids out, to help the causes. They're willing to come and listen to us rant, which isn't an easy task, especially for me.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the charity there, though, mate, and I'm glad everything worked out all right with you guys as well. That you're able to get through okay. But I was going to bring up the charity as well when you mentioned the community, because the idea for that was to start with a goal of $500, and so to now be sitting over $20,000 is just that has been raised so far. It's just insane. But it's like you said, just the generosity of everyone. It's just really, I've been shocked. I've honestly been shocked, and extremely, like, obviously very pleased as well, but shocked. But absolutely fantastic group of people. Fantastic group of people.
It is, and this is where I wanted to highlight the fan aspects first, because it's getting to a point where the media is making a grave mistake, and they're attacking actual people. And I've heard people who, like Dean Jacobs said in the comments, I'm not particularly a fan of Johnny Depp movies, but he is following the case, and he does not like the injustice of the case. So you don't even really gotta be a fan to know right and wrong. And this shit we have let slide for so many things, from Ghostbusters 2016 to the subsequent other bullshit that I've seen raped and pillaged by this new way of thinking. It's come to a point that we always knew, where it was always going to come to a head, where there was going to be that one inciting thing that was going to piss off enough people. And I believe that Depp is, because Depp is an innocent man. And this is how the media works, folks. They do guilty until proven innocent. But that's not how society is supposed to work. Imagine if every day we thought like this, right? Someone said something and you call them guilty until they prove their own innocent. That just sounds fucking stupid. I don't understand.
It is, yeah. And that's because it is stupid. It's bloody ridiculous. You can't operate like that. But the media, the media have really pushed that. The media have really, really pushed that. And that's, and I talked to Andy Signor about this, about cancel culture as well. Like, so Johnny Depp's case, it was Amber said this. So, whoa, there we go. Everybody cancel Johnny Depp. He's done because Amber said this. Well, hang on a minute. What the hell happened to at least getting his side? What happened? What happened to that? It just disappeared. And I think another reason, like you said, Johnny Depp is critical for this. Another reason why Johnny Depp's so important, and it's so important that it's him that's being this catalyst of change, as I called it before, is because not only is he extremely popular, he's also, apart from drugs and alcohol, like, he's clean as a whistle. The private investigator got put onto him, an ex-mob guy who's a private investigator, got put onto Johnny Depp to find dirt on him by Amber Heard. And do you know what he found? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing.
Not a thing. Not a bloody thing.
He went back 30 years into Johnny Depp's history, and he pretty much came back after doing his investigation and said, do you know what? I think I'd like to have a beer with Johnny Depp. He's such a nice guy. and this is the guy that was looking for dirt on him. So Johnny Depp being that kind of a person means that, because what tends to happen, right, and we've seen this too, is somebody's getting cancelled, and somebody will start defending them and say, oh, don't cancel them because of X, Y, Z. Then we see, oh, there's this other thing that came up. Oh, there's this other thing that came up that they did. Someone else has come forward. 3 more people have come forward. And so those people who were on the fringe originally, or were kind of supporting the accused, start to drop off naturally, because they're like, oh, okay, so it's multiple times now, multiple accusations. All right, I might just stop my support for that person. But with Johnny Depp, that doesn't happen, because A, nobody else has ever come forward, and B, he is quite literally the nicest guy in Hollywood. So they said that those people who were on the fringe and who would normally just drop off and disappear and stop supporting him because of more allegations coming out, that's not happening, because there isn't any. So not only is there more support for Johnny Depp overall because he's a massive star and because he's the nicest guy ever, but none of the supporters are dropping away. Everyone is sticking with it. And as soon as something comes out that is that's a blatant lie, that's talking about his character inappropriately, whatever it is, everyone collectively is straight onto it and calling it out for its bullshit. So I think it's great. I think it's good.
Yeah, and here's the thing that is interesting is this has also prompted people to look into it themselves. And we as channels haven't had to say much. I've had so many people in the comments say stuff where it's been like, oh, I didn't even know that. It's like people are searching themselves, and this has been sort of the thing that scares the media about this, is because they're like, oh no, they're not consuming. They're not just letting this go. They're actually looking into this and getting pissed. And it's been to a point, and now look, I've gone to the other circles that I shall not name that I came from previously. And even them, like everybody, this has been a ripple effect, because this is speaking to something much bigger, which is that if we allow someone to be buried, who's a good guy, who has this kind of generous heart, and it is powerful. Don't mistake it, folks. He's got the money to fight
Mm.
this. Um, he's got more than enough money, I'm sure. From what I've heard,
Mm.
he's invested his money pretty smart. So if he chose to, he could probably fight this for years if he wanted to. Um, but this is the thing. He has come out and fought this for all of the reasons that I've waited for a star to fight for, and it's
Mhm.
because it's the name is important, the legacy. It's
Yeah.
not, he's not fighting this because, oh, I just want to get at Amber. It's like, you're calling me something that I'm not. I don't know how
Mm.
many stars I've seen that start on something good and I'm behind them, Kevin Hart and all these guys. And
Yeah.
then they
Yeah. Yeah.
retract what they say because they're so scared of
Yeah.
this poisonous political bullshit kind of society that Hollywood has created. They're so
Yeah.
scared of not getting work. And it's great to see that Johnny is like, nah, it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
about my legacy. It's about saying, hey, I'm not going to go down as
Mm.
this guy that you're claiming that I am, because I'm not. Like,
Yeah.
and when you think about it, it makes you say, why has anyone fucking stuck with this narrative? I mean,
Yeah.
sure, you might lose your money. Okay, that's real. We all got to work. I understand that.
Mm.
But do you sell your soul? Do you give up who you are and essentially betray the people who follow you and believe in you that you might inspire or give hope to? Do you
Mm.
betray that and yourself for extra dollars? Is it worth it? No. Fuck no,
No.
it's not. I don't care right now if Disney came with a bag of cash and they said, well, Zod, if you go and you just say that we're the greatest of all time and you start talking bad about Johnny Depp, we'll just plug your channel and you'll have millions of subs. Oh, fuck that. I would
That was
tell
pretty good,
Disney.
man. That was actually pretty good.
I've been taking lessons from PB. I would tell Disney to take that bag of cash and shove it up the mouse's ass because I need to sleep. And I was in the military. I've done enough terrible shit in my life that I already have a hard time sleeping with.
Yeah.
I don't need more. So
Yeah.
there's two things that I think people respect. They respect, thank you, everybody. They respect that Johnny is sticking to his morals, to who he is. He's
Yeah.
fighting for something important, his name. You will not call me an abuser because I am not one.
Yes.
He's pointing out the actual abuser,
Mm-hmm.
and he's showing Hollywood you can't just fucking railroad people and expect them to just stand there and take it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I see so many, expert lawyers chime in and say, "Oh, Johnny Depp, it's basically pointless. Why, he shouldn't have even bothered with this. I don't know why he's bothering. It's just nonsensical." And you go, "Yeah, but moron, he's not doing it for the money. Like, do you think he really is doing this for the money? No, he's doing it for all those reasons you said, and he's doing it for his children." He said if you look at the comments he makes about his children over time, and of course, I don't know the guy, but from what he says about his kids, they're everything to him, everything to him. And he says in the audio call with Amber, he says, my kids are getting bullied at school, being told, oh, your dad's a wife beater. So that's a massive part of it too. So it's his integrity, it's his name, it's his legacy, and it's all of those things. And saying "f you" to Disney and "f you" to everybody else, but it's also his kids. He really cares about his kids, and he doesn't want them. He hates that they've had to go through, all of this kind of name calling over the years and shaming and stuff for what he's been alleged to have done, when it's clearly not true. And so the other part of this too is I think that with this stuff they target people, and so I think Johnny Depp, they thought, was a great target because he's rich, he's very, very famous, of course, and back to a point I made before, he's the nicest guy in Hollywood. So what they figured was, well, he's just going to capitulate. And of course, when I say they, I mean, so Amber initially, I think, set all of this up, but then the legal people got involved towards the end and guided her, let's just say. So I think that they planned it, and they thought Johnny Depp would just capitulate, would just give in, and not fight because he's the nicest guy in Hollywood. So they thought he'd be the perfect target. But what they didn't realize was how virtuous he is, and how, like, I mean, not virtue signaling, I mean actually virtuous as a person he is. And the fact that he would actually say, do you know what? I'll see you in court. I'll see you in court. They were not expecting those words to come out of his mouth, and they were not expecting him to follow it all of this way through as well. And I see Linda A says, whenever Stevie J uses the word nonsensical, I think of Ben Chew. Me too, and I love that. I absolutely love that in that denial. But that's yeah.
You know, and here's the thing. You know, I made a funny little thing. That's what I do. But in all seriousness, what I've seen constantly is all of these people that just give in, like you say, and capitulate. And it's frustrating as someone who, when they first say, well, no, I'm not going to put up with this, and then they walk it back because they just don't maybe have the money, they don't have the standing yet to really make a difference.
Yeah.
But I did notice something interesting since this, is that you had that thing with Chris Pratt. And why I highlight that was because lots of people attacked him for no apparent reason. And then finally, you had people coming to his defense and other stars. Now you have stars like Robert Downey Jr. and other people coming out and saying, you know what? This shit isn't right. You know, and Robert can do the same thing. That man's got so much money. He's got billions of dollars from Marvel. He does not need, he could make shitty movies like Doolittle for the rest of his life and he'd be fine. Sorry, Robert, that was a terrible movie. I can't give you that. But anyways, the point being is that I think that this is also is kind of giving these other actors a spine, like going, hey, if they could go after Johnny this hard, and he's got to defend himself this hard, and he's got the money, and meanwhile I don't have as much money as he does, you know, I think that there's something going on here. I think,
Yeah.
And folks, bear with me, you know, let's put on our tinfoil hats for a second, but I think that there's a group right now, there's a little bit of a war going on right now. Because if I've read some articles and things, and there's a lot of old school Hollywood actors fucking vacating Los Angeles like it's Escape from LA. I mean, you can look it up. There are tons of big stars and even liberal piece of shit stars that are moving from home base and going to live other places. Why do you guys think that is? Why do you think there's this mass exodus in LA? Because even the people who are on board with the program are starting to see what's going on here. They're starting to see that nobody is safe, and this manipulation and self-destruction, it only sustains for so far. Anybody can be targeted.
That's the other thing, though, mate. That's the other thing, though, right? That with all of this stuff and the way that they push their narratives in, and this is the thing, right? They actually don't believe what they're saying. They don't believe the causes that they say they fight for. And the reason you know that is because it doesn't matter to them who it is or what it is or whoever is getting cancelled or getting attacked. It doesn't matter. They try and follow their narrative all the time, and they attack these people. They attack these people, and then let's say it's a person that they don't like and they've attacked for so long. They'll go after that person, but 3 weeks later, someone that they do like will have done exactly the same thing, whatever the said incident is, will have done something, and they won't go after them. So the hypocrisy is there 100%. Or if they do go after that person who they do normally support, then what happens is others see that and go, oh, well, hang on a minute. Shit. If they're going to turn on me, just like they turn on everybody else, then I'm out of here. So that's the thing, because they don't actually truly believe in a cause or in the cause that they're talking about, whatever it might be, or it might even just be the narrative, the story, whatever. Because they don't actually believe in it, they just keep chasing, like, let's cancel until it goes all the way back and loops back around to them. And they're the ones getting cancelled. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, this is ridiculous. This is the worst thing ever. And you go, well, you created it, or you perpetuated it, or you supported it. So,
I
you've
mean,
made a
if
rod
you
for your
guys
own
have
back.
followed my channel, you know that I hate that big, fat, sloppy looking piece of shit Kimmel. I fucking hate this guy with a flaming passion. And let me tell you something. The funniest thing I saw, the funniest thing I saw was, keep in mind, this is a guy who created a show called The Man Show, who now comes out years later and is attacking people, advocating for women's rights and stuff like that. And then what happens? What happens? All of a sudden, those things he did 15, 20 years ago, right? When the
Mm-hmm.
90s, when the Man Show came out, oh,
Yep.
look who's under the spotlight. Look
Yep.
who's like left and doing video calls from wherever the fuck he decided to flee to.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that and I said, this is exactly what this movement is. And make no mistake, people, um, we can just sit back and watch the fireworks go, because they'll eat themselves alive. It's gonna
Mm.
happen. But
Yeah.
here's the problem with the sit and wait tactic, is that in the meantime, actually good innocent people are going to be
Exactly.
destroyed along the way. And
Yep.
that's why it's important to speak up and say something. But even if we all didn't band together, if we all didn't come together, if we all never said anything, with the way that they've modeled this, it cannot sustain forever,
Mm-hmm.
because eventually every one of them are guilty. Look, let me give you guys a history lesson here. This Me Too movement started why? Because Matt Lauer and a bunch of other people happened to be simultaneously caught being perverted little pricks. The man had a fucking dungeon. Yes, we should point that out. Anyone who
Yeah.
has a fucking button they press and they trap someone in their office, yeah, that's a fucking weirdo. They should definitely meet some consequences. Weinstein, not really a big fan of. Did he make some good movies? Yes. Is he a bit of a scumbag? Yes, he is. Casting couches, do I agree with that? Hell no. That
Mm.
culture needed a spotlight, because make no mistake, this shit has been going on since the 60s and the 70s, okay? Hollywood acts like they've been spotlighting this bullshit just right now. Excuse me, you're about 40 or 50 fucking years too late. You guys have been raping and being misogynistic assholes since fucking Hollywood was conceptualized, okay?
Yeah.
This is nothing new, okay? The difference here is you brought normal people like us and people who are fans into your bullshit and said we were the sexist ones. Seriously? Stevie, I don't know about you, but I don't have a fucking casting couch here. Uh, I've never been in trouble with any of this. So why the
No.
fuck is Hollywood calling me misogynistic, xenomorphic, istophobe, this, blah, 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 fucking blah? Like,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's
It's because it suits him, mate. It suits him. And I agree with what you say. I really do. I mean, so the Harvey Weinsteins need to get called out, right? The Matt Lauers, all of these people who are doing really despicable things and taking advantage of people, they need to be called out. But the hypocrisy for me, when we attach it back to Johnny and Amber, is Amber needs to get called out too, right? So there was what was that judge's name? Brett Kavanaugh as well in the US. So you got all of these different people where these accusations come out. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I know 100%, except for Johnny Depp, 100% the accusations are true or false. But the goal should be to get there. The goal should be to ask the question to get there. are they guilty or not, right? So with Amber Heard, she should be cancelled, in my opinion, 100%, because all of the evidence that we've seen, all the evidence that we've heard, she is guilty. She is guilty. There is no, oh, did she do it or didn't she do it? She freaking admitted it. So she should be cancelled. But what I do have a problem with is the reverse of this case, which is Johnny Depp, and somebody saying, uh, uh, he threw a phone at me. 3 years ago, he threw a phone at me, and it really hurt, and ouchie. I don't have any evidence of that, but ouchie, and it hurt and stuff. And then when she gets asked, and then when she gets asked about it again, oh, actually, no, it wasn't the daytime, it was the nighttime, and I remember that because the carpet was dirty and I needed to vacuum. What? What are you even talking about, woman?
But
It's just
Stevie,
crazy.
the phone thing is so fucking ridiculous because, first of all, I want to know when it's been proven that Johnny Depp's depth perception isn't that great. See what I did there?
I see that. I see that.
No,
well, that's right. He's got eyesight issues. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got eyesight issues. So, riddle me this, Batman. If he has some clear issues, right, and he can't really see that well, I want to know how the fuck he makes the luckiest toss that I've ever seen that I can do myself, and I have pretty damn good vision, and he happens to hit her to where you can see the fucking square of the phone. Like,
no,
that doesn't make sense. And the other thing, too, that's bugged me about this whole thing, and I've used Rihanna as kind of my comparison because she's one of the few I know about abuse besides like Tina Turner and stuff, and I can't find photos of that, but Tina Turner got her ass beat too. But right, look at what happened to Rihanna and that poor girl. Like, she had to go to another fucking country to find her soul again before she got into music. That's how devastated she was. She disappeared off the fucking map. And keep in mind, when she was out at that time, she was on fire. She had an umbrella and all, all of that, right? She was on fire, and she walked away from that because she was so mentally and physically exhausted from the shit Chris Brown did to her that she had to back away from that. Those photos of the night he beat the shit out of her. Did you see her face? And this bitch Amber Heard's trying to tell me she got abused? Are you kidding me right now? What, her disappearing scars? I'm no doctor, but I can tell you one thing. If you have a broken anything, I had a dislocated fucking shoulder that still pops out of place. New York healthcare people's not the best, okay? But this shit still pops in and out of place. It hurts like a mother, okay? You're telling me this bitch claims to have a broken this, her eyes are hurt, she has all of these bruises, and then like magic, what did she use? Some Harry Potter magic? It just disappeared off of her face. Like,
well, apparently L'Oreal's really good. They've got this got this product called Shame Away. It just removes all the shame that you have. It's gone, along with all of your fake bruises and magic bruises. But what you said there is a good point. But also a good point is that if you watch her body language when she's from the TRO photos and footage and stuff like that, when she's getting that restraining order, and like with Rihanna, she was very much and not that she should have felt ashamed, but she felt ashamed. You could tell by her body language. She was kind of hunched over a bit, trying to not let people see her. But when you look at what Amber Heard was doing, and if you look closely, when she walks out of or she's out the front of that building getting the restraining order, she's like this, chin up, trying to make sure everybody can see all of the bruises, and I mean fake bruises. So
it's like a photo op.
Yeah, it's right. She's walking out like this, making sure everyone gets every angle. It's like, I'm not actually sure you want to do that, Amber, because they're fake. So might not be the best thing to give everybody a good look. But how did the photographers know she was there? How did they know she was going to be going down there to file a TRO? The reporters are good, but they're not that good.
Dean Jacobs says she has Wolverine healing.
Yeah,
I
well, she is
believe
a
in you,
mutant, that's
Logan
for
took
sure.
longer time than that. Uh,
She's definitely a mutant, that's for sure.
but no, I
I'm gonna
mean,
have to get
and
going soon, mate. Sorry to let you know, I'm gonna have to get going
oh,
shortly.
all right. Man, I didn't even realize we were going for an hour. Yeah. I
Time flies
also,
when you're having fun.
I know, but yeah. I wanted to give updates on this, kind of point out things that
Mm,
personally annoyed me,
yeah.
and I wanted to just kind of talk about the other end of this. Like everybody's doing the trial stuff and things like that, and I'm not going to pretend like I know all of the ins and outs. I know enough to talk to you guys about it. I'd watch people's videos and things, but for me, I wanted to hit it from the most important part, which is that the continued support, you guys being brave enough to continue to let these shills and these pieces of shit know that you are real, that you support and stand behind Johnny making sure that he gets a
Hmm.
fair fucking trial. That is important because look, it's not just about Johnny Depp, but it's about you and me too. Just put it into this perspective here. If a celebrity can get railroaded in
Mm,
what's supposed to be a blind justice system, what fucking chance does a standard person have? That's how dangerous this is. And I've said this on
mm,
Rob Rules. The most dangerous thing about this verdict is that it shows that justice is no longer fucking blind, that you could be bought and paid for and be a pawn. And
yep.
we can't let that stand because if justice can't be represented by someone like Johnny Depp, who can essentially pay for a good lawyer and have his case really heard,
Yep.
then for me and you, who might have to
Which,
get legal representation because we can't fucking afford it, what chance do we have? And
yeah.
that's really important because it get people then lose hope in the justice system. And if the fucking justice system fails us, holy shit, man, we are in end times. We are in end times
Mm,
if we cannot depend on the court and the sanctity of the law. It's so fucking important. I tell people this all the time. I tell these little kids on their Twitch and Twitter and fucking all that. I tell them this isn't just about two celebrities battling, kids. This is about how
oh
important
yeah.
it is that the law and the letter of the law is maintained. If we don't have that, then society as we know it breaks down and crumbles.
Yep.
And we
Absolutely agree,
need
mate.
that reassurance.
I
So
couldn't agree
thank you,
more.
everybody. Thank you, Stevie. I really appreciate it. This has been really fun. I hope to do
Yeah,
more of
man. It's
these
been good.
and tackle. But go ahead and let people know, like, all of the great stuff you got coming, and all of
Uh,
the.
well, thanks for having me, mate. And it is always good to catch up. And time really does fly when you're having fun, I think, like, or when it's a really engaging topic, engaging chat, and engaging conversation. So yeah, it's been good. Coming up for me tomorrow at, I think it's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern, I think it is. I'm going to be going through the skeleton document. So the UK verdict appeal skeleton argument from Johnny Depp's legal team, and going through that, which will be a fairly long stream, I think, but it'll be pretty in depth as well, commenting on a lot of that stuff. And what's interesting is a little teaser about that. Most people here have probably read it, but for those that haven't, is all of the sections of it where the Johnny Depp legal team clearly state in there the judge's ruling was flawed. The judge's ruling was false. The judge's ruling was flawed. It's repeated all the way throughout, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So, if anyone wants to watch that, that'll be tomorrow. And other than that, yeah, it's New Year's Eve, so just
Oh yeah.
going to enjoy.
By the way, thank you, Sherry K, and everyone who's been giving me comments. And thank you, everybody. I got my normal late night talks. I've been doing a lot more streams with other people these days because there's
Hmm.
this great community. So I'll be on with a certain someone who's in the chat right now, who I was dying to meet before on Rob Rules channel. and we'll all be talking. Mr. Gary, if you're still in there. Um, so I've been anxious to chat with him and talk, and we're all going to talk about everything going on tonight. So go check out Rob's channel because he's just a great man. He's a great guy. We had a really awesome discussion, and I look forward to going over there. So I'll be doing that tonight. And
Cool.
also every Friday and Saturday, I have 2 segments. Friday, I have late night talks where I pick out articles and I make fun of things because these people are idiots and they make it easy for me every day.
I was going to say, it's easy to find that material. Yeah.
it's so easy for me to do at this point. I think this week I'll be talking about Pablo Hidalgo. I haven't talked about that clown in a while. But apparently now even Star Wars fans aren't putting up with shit anymore. So this has been a great week for me.
Well, everyone has their breaking point, right?
Oh yeah, and it's about time. So it feels really good to report on stuff like that. I'm gonna be doing Fandom Zone News, where I cover serious news on Saturdays with Father Sod. So he'll come on, and we get into politics and some stuff like that. But it's only one day, and we've had actually really great civil talk about that. So it's been pretty good. Nice. And of course, tomorrow I will be releasing, and this is a little bit of my passion here. I'm currently I stopped to actually stream with you, but I'm going to be reviewing Transformers War for Cybertron Chapter 2 Earthrise. I was on episode 4. There's only 5 episodes. No, I was on 5 with 10 minutes left. And I'm like, if I start late, I could just no. People are waiting, side and put it on the back burner. But I'm gonna be
well, I'm glad
I can't wait to review that. So
I'm glad you decided to come and have this chat instead of watching.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna lie. I was heartbroken. Megatron and Optimus were in a pretty big battle going on. But then I'm like, my boy Stevie's more important. So that's how much respect.
Oh man, I'm more important than Megatron. That's it means so much to me.
Well, nothing but love for you, brother. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching. You guys are all great.
Awesome. Awesome
I'm sure you're subscribed to Stevie, so I mean, I'm not even gonna plug that. Stevie's just amazing. If you're not subscribed to him, what are you doing? And
same
if
to
you choose
Zod that way. Subscribe to Zod as well.
If you like the cowboy hat. Okay,
yeah.
Try to get me to 500, at least for the sake of the hat. And Dad brought this so that I could share it with the world.
Well, it's a favorite, mate. I think everyone loves it.
But thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you guys watching. Much love to everyone, and keep fighting the good fight. Remember, #justice for Johnny, and as always, remember the only rule here in the fandom zone:
don't do it.
For General Zod.
The darkness will fall.